The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.
Pow. What's up, guys? Well, today I got another Beth Avenue story for you. I hope you liked that interview with Janine. Janine was a fantastic lady. Big Ange was definitely a big personality, and it's just a shame what happened to her. But I got this story about when I first came home. It's a story about some of the Staten Island kids. Now, when I first came home, I went to go see Sparrow with Manny Madonna, and I got released by my friends. I didn't want anything to do with my friends anymore. I knew they killed Paulie G. So I'm in the street. I see a couple old-time friends, and there's word on the street, who killed Paulie G. And I didn't want anything to do with them. And this is a time when Fabrizio is just getting ready to get straightened out. Now, when I first came home, I went to Staten Island. I was living in Staten Island with my girl Lori at the time. We had our own apartment. We were getting ready to get married and stuff like that. Actually, Gene Gotti got me Russo's on the Bay in Queens. And that never happened because obviously it was a short stay in the street. I only ended up staying in the street maybe 11 months. And then I got picked up on this indictment. So what happened was, at this time, my brother John is dating some girl. I don't want to say her name, but she's like an Asian girl mixed with something else. And she's very friendly with some of the kids in Staten Island. She knows this kid named Danny. I'm not going to mention his last name either, but he's a cousin of some kid, Franny, that I know. Franny owns a pizzeria. So when I first came home, I visited Franny in his pizzeria. So when I go visit him, who's sitting there? Anthony Sparrow and his girlfriend. So I get there, and Franny looks at me and says, "Jimmy, look who's here." Now, I just seen Anthony Sparrow 2-3 days ago with Manny Madonna. So Franny says, "Jimmy, are you going to say hello to him?" So I don't even want to say hello to him because I just seen him 2-3 days ago. Okay, I went to his club with Manny Madonna, and we spoke to Joe Benanti and Anthony Sparrow. So I didn't say nothing to him because I know he was on probation, and I just got out and I just seen him. So you know what? I don't want to say anything with him because I'm not with those people anymore. So with that event, now my brother John is dating this girl, and this girl is also hanging out with this kid Danny. It's Franny's cousin. Okay, he's a knockaround kid. Maybe he's selling something in the street. Maybe he's loaning money. I don't know what he is, but he's around the guy, Tony Graziano. They called him TG. TG was a captain in the Bonanno crime family. That was the captain that Fabrizio Di Francisci had to report to. He was Fabrizio's captain at the time. And Franny has no idea that I am now on record with the Lucchese crime family. Manny Madonna is my guy. I report to Manny Madonna 3 days a week in Williamsburg, downtown Brooklyn, on the border of Brooklyn and Queens. And I always used to meet Manny Madonna in the Big Geyser all the time. Manny Madonna had an office there. That's where Jackie the Nose, I met him. I met Michael Meldish there. I met a few guys there. And every time I went there, Maddie was with another wise guy sitting down. Maddie would introduce me to them, and I would say hello to them and have a little conversation with them and rub elbows with them, and then I would go. But my brother John was dating this girl, and this girl was hanging out with this kid Danny from Staten Island. Now, after a while, John had some kind of words with this kid Danny. The kid Danny didn't know my brother John was related to me. He figured out the last name after, but my brother John tells me the story that his girlfriend is friendly with this kid Danny and a few other kids, and that the kid Danny wants to have a beef with him. So right away, when I find this out, I called the kid Franny up. And I was very on good terms with the kid Franny. My girlfriend Lori and his girlfriend were first cousins, so I knew them very well. And I called Franny and I told him, I said, Franny, I said, your cousin Danny says something about my brother, that he wants to beat up my brother or something like that. And girls could start a lot of trouble. It's a known fact. You get the wrong girl, girls start trouble. They love trouble. So I tell Fran, I said, listen, tell your cousin Danny, if he has a problem with my brother, he has a problem with a lot of motherfuckers. That's basically how I said it, just like that. Because when I was back in the street back in the day, in all honesty, I didn't give a fuck about nobody. I mean, that's the way I was. That's the way you had to be. You couldn't be a nice guy. Nice guys in the street finish last, or they're dead. Look at Paulie G. Paulie G was a nice guy because he opened up the door to someone he trusted, and the person he trusted ended up killing him. So you can't be a nice guy on the street. That's for sure. So I relay that message to Franny. Franny goes, okay, Jimmy, I'm going to talk to my cousin Danny. So I hang up. A couple of days go by. The kid Franny calls me. He says, Jimmy, he says, who's your rabbi? I said, my rabbi. So I know what he's talking about. He's meaning, who am I with, who am I around? So I go like this, right over the phone. I go, my rabbi is Maddie Madonna. That's my rabbi. If anybody wants to know, you let them know, Maddie Madonna. That's my guy. Okay? So I guess he reaches back out. He probably went to Tony Graziano and told him, he's with Maddie Madonna. But at the end, nothing really happened with this. They might have reached out to Maddie. There was a lot of things going on. Indictments came down, and a whole bunch of nonsense was going on. But that's one of the events that happened. And, I was on my way to stardom when I came home. When you first come out of jail, you hit the street and you're glowing. You're glowing like a movie star. You just finished doing some time. You're in the street. You just came home. You're on federal parole. I was actually on federal parole and state parole at this time. And I had to report to 2. My state parole wanted me home by 9. And I told him, I said, that's not happening. I said, well, I'm out. All the time I did, I'm going to enjoy my family and my friends. And my state parole officer came to my sister's. That's why I went when I first came home. And he's trying to tell my family, like, you're not afraid of him. And my family's telling him, afraid of him? That's my brother. That's my son. But that's what these parole officers do. They try to put fear into, like, your family members. Like, they don't understand. You know what? Me, I had a close-knit family. I loved and adored my family. But, when I first came home, there was so much going on. So I used to talk to Willie. Willie used to call me. Willie would come to my house, pick me up. And I would tell Willie, I said, Willie, I said, what's Fabrizio and Tommy saying about me? And William Galloway would tell me, he says, Jimmy, he says, I don't want to be involved in this because they're asking me the same thing. What's Jimmy saying about us, Willie. This is what Fabrizio and Tommy was asking William Galloway. So, Willie didn't want to get involved. But I knew, and they also knew, that once they killed Paulie G, they knew they were not my friends no more. Because I don't play that. I don't kill my friends. That's one thing in my life I never did and I never planned on doing ever. It never even had a thought in my head ever to kill one of my friends. So there's all these events that took place. The kid Micah Yamin cooperates. Then this is when the indictment falls down. A lot of other people start cooperating. Then everything happens. What happens is Andrew Reynolds wants to talk to me. And he calls me, he says, Jimmy, let's have a meet. We have to talk. So I'm telling Andrew Reynolds, I said, Andrew, I'm not talking to nobody. Okay? I said, there's no way I'm talking to anybody. So he keeps on wanting talking to me. So I tell him, I said, you know what? I said, if you want to talk to me, meet me near Joe Flowers' club. Joe Flowers had a club on 73rd or 72nd Street on the side block. And I end up driving there with Manny Madonna. When I get there, Andrew Reynolds is there with Joe Flowers. Now, at this time, Manny Madonna just moved up to a captain, maybe an acting boss. And Matty tells him, he says, listen, he says, this kid just got home. Okay, he's not meeting nobody. Just leave him alone. Okay, Andrew says what he wants to say. He asks me, would you sit down and meet Black Dom? Black Dom was a friend of Chris Paciello's. And I told him, I said, listen, if he wants to talk to me, sure, I have no problem meeting him. Okay, but after this, I don't want to talk to nobody because I didn't trust nobody. So what happened was when these kids got indicted, my friends, Al Aroni had the indictment with James DePietro. So I went to their office and I wanted this indictment. And he gave me the indictment. Al Aroni knew me because he represented me on a couple cases back in the day. Back in the day, Al Aroni used to meet me, used to come to Avenue, and I would be hanging out at some girl's house. And there'd be all these girls hanging out. And he would come up and try to talk to them. He was an older guy. But Al Aroni was a legend. He would always be in Anthony Sparrow's social club. So when I pick up the indictment, when I go to his law firm and pick up the indictment, he says, Jimmy, who's this Fat Sal? Do you know who he is? I said, yeah, I know this Fat Sal. I say, he's a fucking nobody. He's a jerk off. That's what he was. He was a jerk off. He said, well, you know why? He's talking like he's a gangster, but he must have been hanging around, I guess, some gangsters at this time. But when I was out there, these guys were jerk offs. They were nobodies, because the Bath Avenue crew, we didn't care about nobody at that time. Seriously. If you were a tough guy and you were capable of killing somebody, then we knew how to deal with you. If you were a nice guy, we would deal with you in a gentleman way. That's just the way Paulie G and I was. As far as Calco never had no brains. He never went nowhere in life. As you see, he killed a 19-year-old kid. Instead of beating the kid up, he could have just broke his leg. He could have gave him a crack and told him, you know what, get out of here. Don't let me ever see you again. Instead, he wanted to pull out his gun and kill the kid, a 19-year-old kid that was harmless. But that's what these guys were, and look what they turned into. So, this is just another Bath Avenue story, giving you an idea of some things that went down when I first came home. I also saw Fabrizio on the Avenue. I spoke with Fabrizio when I got with Manny Madonna, and Fabrizio's talking like this, like he's a gangster. He's talking like when nobody could read his lips. I said, Fabrizio, why are you hiding your mouth? Because nobody could read my lips. I'm like, well, this fucking kid's like, really, was he in fucking fantasy land? And Fabrizio tells me, he says, Jimmy, I got so mad when Sparrow and Joe Benanti released you. I said, Fabrizio, what'd you get mad for? What's the difference? Whether I'm here or whether I'm there, we're still friends, And And then all the indictments came down, and this is when everyone got arrested. Well, I wanted to share this story with you. I'll continue this story on another video. Everyone have a great day. It's just a short story of the treachery that goes on in the neighborhood. These people, you grow up with them, they become your best friends, and then eventually, in the long run, they're out to kill you. You answer the door to them, and they put a bullet in your head. That's why when you're in that life, when you answer a door with a gun in your hand, always. Because in that life, you can't trust your best friend, and that's 100%. So I hope you like this video. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, press the like button. Until my next video, I'll see you again soon. I love you guys. Everyone have a great week. Bye.
The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed, it's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.